cut it. One more time. Nope. Hey there, guys. How you doing? So let's practice. It's been a while, and that's not okay. We gotta practice every day. It even rhymes. See? Sometimes I get it right, but not at night. Sorry. Okay, we're not supposed to do that kind of stuff. I'd much rather have us do maybe something a bit more, you know. So I'm mixing in some arpeggios, and I find that if I immediately try to impose some kind of limitation on myself, in other words, make it a bit more difficult than it has to be, then that can lead to interesting stuff. So, you know, I'm sure that most of us have a lick or pattern we instantly go to, you know, when we start playing, and I kind of want to avoid that, or I want to develop that. I don't just want to play it. Hey bro, do I like Frank Zappa? Walter Green on Instagram is asking that. Good to see you, Walter. Actually, I've never listened much to him. But his son, Dweezil Zappa, I have listened to. I think he's a very cool rock guitar player. And I was very honored to see that he follows me here on Instagram. So, Dweezil, no Frank. And I think that My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama, isn't that his track? I think it is. Walter, are you a Zappa fan? Where should I start? Am I missing some comments here? I think I am. Can anybody on YouTube or Facebook see me? I'm trying this multi-stream thing, but I'm still learning and I'm still confused. So you gotta help me out. Hide new chat. No, I don't want to hide new chats. Show chat view. I think I'm in it now. From Brazil, and you really like my videos. Henry Zandu from Instagram. Thank you so much, man. More videos to come. What kind of videos are you into? Is it like the shreddy stuff, or the chordal stuff, or the, I don't know, the rocky stuff? We can practice a little bit of that. So let's do some harmonic minor, maybe some melodic minor. Racer X GS, is that Racer X and then Joe Satriani? That's an interesting mix. Welcome from YouTube, I should say. Hey there, Ines Tamin from Indonesia and YouTube. So Stockholm, Sweden here. Where are you guys from? It's always interesting to see what kind of unique blend we have here now. Man, did you went to music school in your teen years? No, I never got into music school. I was way too crappy for that. What happened to the practicing? We gotta do some practicing. Let's do some picking. Trouble Every Day. That sounds like a cool title, man. I have to check it out. Okay, so I'm gonna mix some harmonic minor, a little bit of melodic minor, and maybe some arpeggios as well. Let's see if that's even possible at this tempo. It wasn't possible. One more time. It's a little bit too fast. Let's slow it down. Kills me. Okay, one more time. Hey, Mark Fairleah from Facebook. How you doing, man? Yeah, Walter, exactly. This is exotic sounding. Just the harmonic minor on its own can sound very Egyptian. It's fun. Hey there, Odin. Okay, time for a break, and I'm going to explain what the heck I was doing there. So, when I said I was going to throw in some arpeggios, I didn't only play the arpeggios that kind of fit, right? So if you're an E minor, you could play the E minor triad arpeggio, you could play the A minor triad arpeggio, you could even play the B major or the B7, and you would get that harmonic minor sound. All these arpeggios kind of fit. I played some outside arpeggios as well, and it's my kind of new favorite thing to work on well, I think I got a little bit bored by, the sounds of the minor and the major and the pentatonic scale, which isn't weird. I've done that for decades. So it's basically, I think it all started with like, how can I play anything that doesn't sound the usual way? And it's very easy to drift towards those outside arpeggios. I mean, just listen to it, right? Sounds outside, or this one is fun. And if you watch my shorts, you know that I've broken down some of that stuff, and definitely more to come. How to get rid of open string noise while playing solo? That's a great question, man, from Instagram. So let's see here. If you want to try this, and just take any scale that you know and take any arpeggio that you know and make sure that you play that arpeggio in a place where there are no scalar dots. So in other words, if you're playing like the minor scale, E minor, and you play like the C sharp major arpeggio, I'm totally not in the same place, and that makes it sound bad. So now you've found a way to sound really bad. How can you make it fit? That's kind of the next big problem. And here, it definitely helps if you have like a bit of flow, so practice those things, and maybe you can play it at a bit of a higher tempo so you can just lightly touch upon it. But also the way you go in and out of the bad notes, that's gonna matter. The trick is pretty much to find a nearby place where you can switch. So if you have a melody going, and you land there, and then you can do, oops, one more time. I like that at least, it's or I like this. I don't know if it's very jazzy. It sounds more out and fusion more than jazz, because it's not, I don't think this would be considered a bebop lick by any stretch, but to me that works, right? I go outside the scale and there's a half step in between. You know, that's kind of the trick. How, what's up? I'm not Spanish, I'm half Greek and half Swedish. So you might be seeing some Greek traces. Not that far away. Mindless shred, just on the end, right? No, yeah, exactly. Mindless shred and then land on a good note. That's true, Walter. So we had a question, I haven't forgotten about it. I love seeing all these questions coming in. So a question, how do you keep it clean? And that's kind of important, right? I'm not using any kind of cheating tool right now. Some of you might know that you can have this kind of, string dampener, or just tie a sock around your neck, whatever. That can help. But it's pretty useless, because open strings are some of the coolest things you can play on the guitar, right? If you play any riff, you want those open strings. Feels like power is about to die here. I wonder if it is. It's pretty bad weather outside. So, I mean, I like open strings, right? So I hate the idea of putting a sock here. So what you gotta do is be kind of conscious when you're practicing at a slow tempo. Yes, hi on hats on Instagram. I am gonna save the stream on whichever platform you're watching on right now, so you can return to it. So, okay. Let's try it out. When you're practicing slowly is when you have your chance to kind of clean your playing up. If you're already playing messy, you won't be able to go from that to something clean at a high tempo. You gotta slow things down, and that's when you have a chance to make a real change to your playing. So let's try that. I'm gonna return to the bit of a metronome beat there. So I like to play basically anything I'm practicing on just at a super slow tempo and try to think of cleanliness and tone. So let's do some more arpeggios. Can I hear every note? Then it's okay. And that, you gotta spend a lot of time on those slower speeds, but then you can try some speed bursts. You can try just raising the tempo or raising the beat subdivision. So, and I messed up. And then that's way too fast. I have no chance to kind of fix any issues there. Now this is definitely stretching it for most people, but if you're very experienced, you can still play at this tempo and try to clean things up. But how do you clean things up? Well, it's usually a matter of precision in terms of where you hit with the pick and where you fret. So that has to come with time and with slow practice, and just be conscious about how you're hitting the strings with both hands. If you fret, if you almost miss the string with your left hand, not only is it going to sound bad, but you run a risk of producing some serious noise. And the same goes, of course, if you hit the wrong string with a pick. So that's kind of elementary. But if you do those things right, and it can always get better, by the way, you can always play with more hand sync, you can always find a better spot to hit the strings, you can always be more relaxed as you're hitting them. All those things need constant work. But if you somewhat nail that, then you can start thinking about the other strings, the ones you're not playing. How are you going to fix those? And the answer here is you should somehow mute them. If you're playing with distortion, that becomes super important. Otherwise, noise will develop. Trust me, it's going to get noisy. If you look closely at my right hand when I'm doing this kind of thing, I'm playing on the G string, but I'm resting these two fingers on the B and the E string. That's just one of the many muting tricks there are. Also, we typically rest our palm here on the low E and A string. That's a very good way to constantly mute those lower strings until you want to play them. Now, I know a lot of people will argue that, well, I know that stuff, but when you're playing, you don't have time for that. Yes, so let's go back to what I said previously. You can only really fix this, you can only address this at a slow tempo. That's just the way it is. I have never heard of another method, like some, you play fast and you fix it. Doesn't happen. I have to think about all those things, as well as the left hand muting. So if I'm fretting the D string, I'm trying to dampen the G, the B, and the E string. And you can hear they're being damped now because they don't produce any sound, much sound, if we compare to the note I'm aiming for. You can even mute the A string as you're targeting the D string if your fingertips are fat or if you're up for the challenge. Sana Al May Joa is asking on Facebook, any tips for alternate picking? And Morpheus is giving me some fantastic words on YouTube. Thank you, man. So, that's a good one. So, Sana is more precisely asking on Facebook how to fix the alternate picking, because when he does it, I think it's a he, then you're getting stuck between the strings, right? And that's a very common issue, You can play fast on one string, and then you try to, move to the next string, and ouch, it doesn't work anymore. So first, let's establish that playing fast on one string with somewhat hand sync, that is called tremolo picking. And it's not the same as being in control over fast picking across several strings. Tremolo picking is a very kind word to basically describe a totally uncontrolled and almost useless technique. Sorry for saying it. It is featured in some cool trash songs, or thrash songs, I should say, but the solos themselves are pretty trashy, I would argue. So unless the song is good, that tremolo picking certainly doesn't help. Anyhow, so how to solve that? Well, I hate to break it to you, but the same kind of rule applies here. You have to start by lowering the tempo to even analyze where things go south. And that is, of course, where there is string traverse. So when you're going from one string to the other, that's when you're gonna mess up. That's when you're gonna get stuck. It won't happen if you only practice on one string. That's just the way it is. So on one string, easy. Now you can still play some pretty cool lines on one string, especially if you take the time and synchronize your hands. So I'm thinking namely about these, or at least I think they're called, or cool, these types of, I don't know how synchronized that was, but these kind of Yngwie Malmsteen run, right? He's really good at those, right? The 1, 2, 3. And those, when he does it, is very synced and no issues at all. It doesn't sound like tremolo picking. But he and many other players also play those licks across several strings, and that's when it becomes very difficult. It's a whole different technique. So the first thing to realize is a flexible picking technique does not involve one single style of picking only. Usually it's a mix between, well, I would say economy picking, especially if we're speaking about Yngwie, he does that quite a bit, but also alternate picking and smart picking, I would say. Basically, you practice your licks. Sometimes they work well with alternate picking, but depending on whether you're starting on an up and down stroke and that kind of thing. So that has to be factored into whatever you're practicing. There is no magic, one technique fit all. I wish there were. If you want that, then go look for legato instead. That's more of because it's easier when you don't have to think about string traverse in the same way and you don't have to sync your hands. So if you want an easy way to play, smooth, long runs, I would start with legato, and then you can gradually add more and more picking. That's how I do it, especially if I'm in a bad shape, which I always am. So legato is my constant savior. So a lot of times I won't have the confidence to just hop into a picking run, you know? I feel like, yeah, I'm probably gonna mess up if I just try to do, ouch, almost made it. So I'll just do, maybe next time I'll try to add a bit more picking, so maybe some economy picking, or maybe just some, I like to call it pickato, where I pick a few notes and then hammer on a few. So any of those might sound like they're, you know, picking runs, but they're actually a mix of legato and picking. And the more I do it, like in a jam session or a practice session, the more confident I get. So if I ever were to torture myself with recording some kind of strict alternate picking solo, that's how I would go about it. But I don't really feel the need for that, you know. I try to just play whatever comes naturally. Sometimes the alternate picking stuff does come natural. Usually, like I said, when I've been playing for quite a bit and just like, yeah. And then it's fun because I can play those aggressive runs. But if it doesn't come to me, I'll just play legato instead, you know? Now, for the sake of clarity, I've been practicing all of these techniques for decades, so it's not like you can just sit and wait and maybe they're gonna come. This is just my way to say that some things are really difficult, I think, regardless of how much you practice them. And I think alternate picking is probably the most difficult technique there is on guitar because of the hand sync required. It's also, you know, fast alternate picking is also a technique that doesn't really lend itself for improvisation, which is why it's not my main choice since I like to improvise. I like to jam, you know, I like to not know what I'm about to play, and that's hard with alternate picking. So when I'm playing fast alternate picking, and when most people are doing that, it's usually just patterns that I've practiced, and I try to combine them at will. It doesn't get more, you know, it's not more improvised than that. Mike from YouTube, good to see you. Lapai from Facebook. Morpheus, thank you. Diablo from YouTube, I have a question. Is it better to play with the guitar pick or with your thumb? That's a good one. So I like both. Maybe not the thumb only, but I like playing with my fingers. So I can say goodbye to the pick. Goodbye, pick. Of course, I can't. It's a little bit harder to do the aggressive stuff. Whoa, goodbye pick forever. It's a little bit harder to do the aggressive stuff, right? So that kind of thing is easier with picking, but you get a lot of other advantages with there's something organic or woody about that tone. That's probably the wrong word to describe it. It's rather fleshy and bloody or whatever. There's something with that touch, you know. Also, it's a softer surface. I mean, if you try to pick with your nail, you're gonna get something that sounds closer to the pick, obviously. But I think there's more variation to be found within the fingers, and that's the kind of thing. It's a little bit hard to analyze it and you know, in the heat of the moment when you're listening to solo, realize that every note sounds a little bit more different than your average solo, but that's the way it is. I think when you're using your fingers, every pick strike or every pluck, finger pluck, has more potential for dynamics, and there's something nice about that warmer and not so edgy sound. So yeah, both are good. Lots of cool questions coming in from YouTube now with more than 100 viewers. That's awesome. So I understand that a guitar pick is used to play more aggressive solos and riffs, is Diablo asking. Yeah, there's some famous quote by Mark Knopfler where he says that you got a little amplifier in your hand. And that's partially true, especially with a clean tone. If you're playing like a tube amp with lots of headroom, like if you're Fender amp and you don't have lots of gain, and you can really hear a big difference between the soft and the loud notes. which I don't play currently. I have a very high gain setup. So, but if I turn the volume knob down so you don't hear the amp, and I pick, that's a soft sound, right? And that's a loud sound. It's done with a pick. That would be kind of hard with the fingers. It's possible, but you lose some of the speed. So it's helpful, yes. And if you're like me and you spent decades playing with a pick, you're not just ready to let it go, you know. You're probably gonna want to do something like this, which is a good compromise. You know, hold it like that, or and so I tend to always have the pick, even if I'm going for something very bluesy and finger stylish. Yeah, I always have it there, so maybe I want to do something. And I can go back to, you know, it's a super handy thing to have. Lots of good questions coming in now. Jim on Facebook gets a better and deeper sound with my finger than a pick. Yes, I think especially for some clean tones, it's vastly superior. I find that if I want to play with a pick on a clean or like a, you know, Fender-ish clean sound with your Strat sound and all that, I like to use super soft picks or no picks at all. Cool, Morpheus. If you also struggle with like string traverse, you should watch the stream, rewind it, just 15 minutes. I did a deep dive into it. Hi, I bought the GRG 270B and how issue chose between buying audio interfaces. Someone told that it can hear the guitar sounds. Oh, you want to hear the guitar sound as you play it. So, if you want to hear the guitar sound as you play it without any latency at all, then you need a sound interface that has a monitor option. So basically what that means is it reroutes the audio back to the speaker immediately while it also records the audio. And you need an audio face with a little bit of control so you can choose what to hear. So basically you need to be able to monitor the sound through your audio interface. And I don't know anything about the sound interfaces you mentioned. Sorry, man. Otherwise, I could help you. How to make better motion when picking? Cool question, Arsa. See, did I miss anything? Oh, Andy's asking something on Instagram. I only play with a pick, with a plectrum. Yeah, I almost always hold the pick, but I don't always play with it. Also, of course, I do a lot of hybrid picking. We haven't even spoken about that yet, but if you check out my right hand, you can see I'm doing, that's hybrid picking. So pick, finger, pick, finger. That's something I speak a lot about. We just haven't covered it yet. Why you didn't playing with a super strat guitar like Floyd Rose? This is pretty much a super strat. These are stacked humbuckers. So to me, this is pretty much a super strat. I have some guitars with the Floyd Rose, but right now I've done some changes where I docked this the tremolo here, and it just improved the sound so much. It's just the best change I've done in a long time. So I don't really feel like having the tremolo back in a while. Maybe I will. Yngve, yes, you're sheet out on Instagram. I like Yngve. There's a lot of Yngve in these runs, right? Let's try one. No. Morpheus, thanks so much, man. So let's speak a little bit about the actual picking motion. That's also like a big chapter, right? Some people like to use like a visible wrist almost. Some people like to use this part. Some people like to use the whole arm, which might not be recommended. But I think the the truth is that the best technique comes when you combine all, you know. I think they serve different purposes. Sure, you can do some, like the Yngwie stuff, you can do it with just that thing, but I think even that benefits from a little bit of wrist and a little bit of arm, but you can't see it. That's the whole point. So when you see someone who's in control over their picking technique, usually it's a combination of all these movements. One might be more obvious, like I said with Yngwie, you might spot this. Paul Gilbert, you might spot this, but it doesn't really matter. What I found is if I want my picking chops to be really good, which they're not right now, then I practice those separately. So I'll spend some time just doing this, you know. So I'll lock my hand or my fingers here. So I can't do this because I've anchored them and it's locked. The only thing I can move is the wrist like that. Sorry, the only thing I can move is the thumb joint like this. And that's not a very good technique, but it's a very good exercise to get control of this motion. And then I might do the same with wrist. So I'll try to lock now the thumb joint, keep that super stiff, and instead pick with the wrist. So maybe, I don't know. Very stiff. And then I'll do the same with my whole arm actually. Like I said, this is if I really want to warm up for picking only. Cool, so we have some Instagram people here as well. Ricky, what's up? So this will be the whole arm. Again, not very good technique. But it's a great exercise to control your arm or the part of your picking that is done with the arm. So if I spend like 5 or 10 minutes on each of those, again, which I haven't now, then you know I'll find that my picking gets much more control. So I think the picking motion comes from all of those. So you should practice all of those as well. Muller, how are you? Diablo Q on YouTube is asking, how long have you been playing guitar? Is it hard to start? I'm 19 and I'm starting out on the electric guitar. Do you have any general advice? Is it better to read tab or learn to place your fingers? Yes, I do have some general advice for you. And I think it's the most important thing ever. Just play the things you love listening to. That's number one. So don't ever follow someone else's advice unless they know you very well and your musical taste. So don't follow my advice, but I'm giving you general advice now, so it's okay. So that's number one. Number two is, as soon as you know some songs, learn more. Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who, you know, they start as total beginners, everything is difficult, and they tackle a few songs and they learn them, or riff, or maybe even a little bit of a solo, and they get really, you know, happy about themselves, which they should be. So they get up to this plateau and they stop learning as much because they feel so good about themselves when they play the stuff they know. And they continue like that, so they're on the plateau and they don't really want to go outside of their comfort zone because that makes them feel like beginners again. And then after 6 months, they come to me or any other guitar teacher and it's like, how do I avoid getting stuck in a rut? Well, you should have kept learning stuff that you felt uncomfortable with. You know, that's really the secret there. So 1, learn things you love listening to. 2, keep challenging yourself to really play stuff that's outside of your comfort zone. If you do those 2, that's pretty much all you need. I could speak about playing fast or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just do those 2 and you're good to go. Now, there's a little bit of an exception to the rule there. I don't listen that much to like solo guitar anymore. but I still enjoy playing it. But I've done decades of that. Now it's more of a, you know, for me, it's not even practicing or anything like that. It's just something I do in life. It's part of my life, you know. I can't really live without jamming and playing, and it's just, I don't really care about whether I'm progressing, you know, as I play like that. It's just, I want to do that because I think it's, in a way, it's like comfort zone. I spent much more time doing this than I did with my family growing up, or my parents for that part. This, you know, playing guitar became my parents, you know, so it's that kind of thing where I just have to do it. But I also do challenge myself other ways, you know, where I try to write things, I try to play stuff that's very much out of my comfort zone, maybe rhythm stuff, clean stuff, dial in weird tones or new tones, try different instruments, different guitars that is not super comfortable, like this one, which almost plays itself, you know. But when a guitar almost plays itself, it also means your fingers are pretty much dictating what is being played. I don't know Rain in Blood. Sorry, Lukey from Instagram. Play guitar is the best to find out what works. That's my way, 42 years. Yep. The more you play, the better you're gonna get, for sure. Rifki on Instagram. Nice exercise. Thank you. Yes, Andy, it does work for me. Cool. So maybe jam a little bit now over some track. I don't know. Let's do it. Woo, scary weather outside. Wind is blowing and raining. I'm in Stockholm, Sweden, by the way. So if there's anybody else in the same region, I bet you are also suffering from the bad weather right now. Let's see here. I'm gonna go to my YouTube channel now, and I have a playlist there called Backing Tracks. Let's see. D minor. Pretty cool. Don't barely remember writing this one. Can you guys hear me? You know, is the backing and guitar audible? I do think I have an upgrade coming in that'll be very cool for these live streams. Fingers crossed it's a good one, and fingers crossed I get it tomorrow. We'll see. It could be really good. Basically, I want to be able to, you know, not use the iPhone microphone. We'll see. Okay, thanks for confirming about the sound. Very cool question there from Anadi on Instagram. How I, discovered lots of different harmonic structures on the guitar, and whether it was through, learning from others or I found my own ways. Let's address that in a second. Sayori, thanks for confirming. Sounds good. I think I overdid the vibrato a little bit there. So let's take a little pause, because it was a pretty cool question there coming from Instagram. So how did I learn to navigate around the fretboard, and how did I, harmonically discover the scales and the different sweet spots? And very little was done actually by transcribing other people's solos and stuff like that. And that's because I did very little of that overall, There are only like a handful of guitarists where I even bothered learning an entire solo from them. Some people I know, they're like, they have this one guitar god and they've learned all their stuff, I was the opposite of that. I just picked a lick here and there from lots of different people. And that can sometimes be enough to really, for you to, through kind of quick osmosis, get their little bit of their DNA into your playing, but not too much. And that's a good thing, because I think if you do the other way around, and you spend time learning lots of material by another guitarist, it's going to get hard to get rid of that clone sound, right? You're going to have to work very hard for that. That was never my issue. My issue was just to not sound like shit, basically. I think anything I did was rather original, but most of it sounded like crap. So either you can sound good early on, but you sound like a copy of someone, or it takes a long time to even sound decent, but you have a greater chance of being original. At least that's my take on it. And that's based on the kind of practicing I've done, which is, I don't even know if it's out of laziness or if it's because I wanted to be original, whatever, but I never really sat down and learned much from other people. I just stole bits and pieces here and there. I would check out like an REH video, the back in the days where all these shredders would show their favorite licks, and I would grab just small bits, like a scale here and there, a scale pattern, or maybe a lick, or maybe a technique, So it was always like that. And with that kind of thing, you're kind of missing all the bits in between, I have this cool lick and I know one riff, but I have no idea what's in between, how can I make it work in a musical context? And that took me decades, and I'm still working on it, I'm still not, I struggle just playing or feeling like a 4/4 bar, the stuff you learn should be the first thing you learn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I played 4/4 there, but that's hard for me. So, that kind of thing, working on that still. So that was my approach. I'm not saying it's better than any other approach. It's just the only thing that worked for me. If I had done it any other way, I don't think I would have been interested in playing. Unless maybe I've had a teacher who was really charismatic and who had forced me into just playing more rhythm guitar. That would have been useful, maybe, but I'm not too sad about that. Just kidding. I don't even have a tremolo bar here, sorry. Maybe I should grab a guitar with a tremolo bar. I just haven't really felt like tremolo bars in a long time. So lots of cool questions coming in from Instagram now. How do you speed up your solos? Can I see your pedal board? And I have to show you my pedal board now. I wish I could at least. Come on, turn the freaking thing around. Here we go. It's very messy, my apologies for that. but I'm actually using a few of these pedals now, so it makes sense to show them. Or the only ones I'm using are 3. A lot of sound comes from the silk tone fuzz now. Without it, with it, it's not a very good illustration, but that's the booster I'm using, and it really colors the tone because it's a very powerful tone controller, you know. The fuzz itself does a lot, but then I have a treble and bass, and again, volume is set to like 3 o'clock. I use it as a major boost right now. I don't use any of these pedals right now, but I do use the delay pedals, super important. You can hear all the delay and a bit of reverb. Actually, I have more of that sound now than I would if I were practicing, or if I, were recording or practicing just with a metronome. The sound I have now, I think it works well for playing over backing tracks, because you don't struggle with kind of fitting in, because I've dialed in the rhythm of the delay so it fits. So I think it works like that, but it doesn't work really well it's a little bit too wet, If I were practicing without the backing track, just like this, I would turn the delay off so it sounds like this. That's dry and this is wet. Too much, right? Of course, sound is constantly, for me, tone is an evolving thing, so I change all the time, but that's a good general rule, I think. SRV's glassy tone, Jan, I'm no expert on SRV. I wish I were, because I love his style, but doesn't sound like SRV. Starla, thank you for digging my riffs. Ooh, that's a good one. Diablo on YouTube is asking, when playing guitar, is muscle memory or musical ear important, or both? Okay, both are important depending on what you want to do, or actually both are being used to a certain extent whenever you're picking up the guitar, but they're very different things, right? So if you try to create music out of your muscle memory, it's going to sound like crap. That's the quick answer. But muscle memory is what enables you to just grab a chord, right? Without thinking. Just remember how it was first time you tried to play a chord. You didn't have the muscle memory, it didn't work. Learn a completely new, like jazzy chord, and you're going to feel the same again. It's like, how do I do this? That's muscle memory. It helps you grab those shapes quickly. It helps you place the fingers for your scalar runs so you can play them without thinking. But muscle memory does not create a good song, a good solo, or a good riff, right? Or very rarely does it do that, only if your muscle memory is confused. Muscle memory is only good for playing the stuff that you played a million times. But you need it, because if you don't have muscle memory, your brain is going to have to do everything. If you are into computing and stuff like that, there's something called cache, right? Where stuff is cached. So that's a way for the computer to not have to go deep dig as soon as it needs some information. So it stores them in the cache, and that's a quick way for you to find stuff. And well, the muscle memory is the same thing, right? It's an easy way for you to grab the stuff you already know, to play the stuff you already know. I guess you could say that. I don't know. I have to confess that explanation was also an improvisation. I like to improvise, whether I'm speaking or playing. Yeah, isn't it pronounced cash? C, I think, or is it catch? No, cash, should be cash. But not the kind of cash you buy stuff with, right? It's a bit like if you do a Google search, the results are almost instantaneous. And that's pretty weird, considering you can ask about anything and it's going to give you the answer, or in a split second. And we take that for granted, but that was super innovative when it came like 15 years ago. And that's because Google stored a lot of those results in cache in the RAM memory, I think. Matt, you're waving. Makes me happy. How you doing, man? Okay, so let's do a little bit more jamming. There was another track. What's this one? G minor. Thank you, Mabio, for digging my picking style. Wow, that wasn't good though. Thank you, AM. If you also want to try this out, the backing track is called Indian Cinematic Rock. It's on my backing tracks playlist on my YouTube channel. Matthew from Instagram. I've been playing for 30 years, I think now. What's your first go-to for playing a different color on a minor key? So I will play a major arpeggio or a major, like a dominant 7 arpeggio that's totally outside of the key. Like that. Cool Lion, Stockholm, Sweden here. Van Halen. How do you rate the riff? It's a classic for sure. I also gotta practice some bending there. Sorry, I don't know any Ozzy Osbourne solos. Muffin, thank you so much, man. Oops, wrong key again. Where was I? G minor. Let's play down here. Matthew, I do love the blues, but it's not really a bluesy backing track. Can try to fit some bluesy later. Oh, that wasn't bluesy. So Matthew from Instagram, what is my favorite style? So I like to mix styles. I don't have a favorite style. I think it's more interesting if we just combine everything. So for blues, I like SRV for sure. That's probably my bluesiest influence, but I do like Blues Saraceno, who has an interesting take on, you know, playing groovy and bluesy stuff in a shred context. Muffin, I've been playing for 30 years. Boom! Lots of good questions there. I don't play in a band currently. Thank you, Matt, for digging my stuff. Thank you, Maffin. And thank you, Matt, for reminding me to throw in some blues in here. That's important. Missed there. But we spoke a lot about picking in the beginning of this session, and even though picking is, like I said, it's a pretty non-flexible technique, requires a lot of work, it's still when you can throw in those accented runs in a rock solo, that's important. So I guess picking is worth the time and effort after all. You hear me think about this in real time after 3 freaking decades of practicing it, but yeah, it's a good thing to know for those climax moments. And a lot of rock solos are all about reaching some kind of climax. So you can't get, I guess you can't get away without a little bit of picking. This guitar model, Alex, is a Fender American Deluxe Strat. It's their 50th anniversary reissue. But I messed a little bit with it. I scalloped it, I changed some stuff, and actually I put the original pickups back, but you can see, yeah. So I have used low output pickups, and I like low output pickups a lot, but I decided to make this one a bit shreddier again, so I put on 08 and did it like an Yngwie guitar basically. Yingo Jam, I would average maybe like 1 or 2 hours of practicing / playing per day. It's hard to count because, you know, I do a lot of guitar recordings, which is work as well, but it's practice as well, and that's all good stuff. My heart wants to jump out every time you pluck the strings. Hey, we got a song title going there. Thank you, Maffin. If we can just shorten it down a little bit, it's the perfect song title. Right after, you know, My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama, and then we have My Heart Wants to Jump Out Every Time You Pluck the Strings. It's awesome, man. The color, I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. I bought it secondhand or like 20 years ago, so couldn't tell you. Ooh, Elida on Elida Newberry. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I helped him or her so much when I started playing guitar. That's awesome, man. Thank you. So many good comments, man. When was that? And where was it, if I may ask? Matthew, you haven't heard anything I've done professionally. Well, you're here. This is my profession, to be on social media right now. If you're speaking about my songs, you can find some of them on my YouTube channel. But it's been a while, so I wouldn't say my new songs are any part of that as of now. Could change though. Nadasini is asking, where are you from, mister? These are comments from Instagram, by the way. I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. Where are you from? Cool, Elida. So you started out about a year ago, and I helped you getting started. That's awesome, man. Means the world. I used to hear these comments a lot because I was one of the early YouTubers, but also just guitar instructors on the web, like 20 years ago when YouTube barely existed, and I was on Ultimate Guitar. So I have people pretty much in my age, or maybe a little bit younger, but you know, come up, oh, you helped me get started like 20 years ago. But now I got to hear like 1 year ago. That's pretty awesome. So I'm reaching a new generation. That makes you want to cry. Sorry. No, but seriously, Elida, that makes me very happy. So thank you. Oh, sing a song. Sorry. Doesn't get better than that. A rumba? No, but I can dance. Just kidding. I can't do a rumba, but I can dance. Matthew, yeah, I teach. You should check out this channel. You're gonna find all my teaching stuff, man. But I'm happy you asked. Nadasini, you like my rumba? Thank you, man. So should we find another backing track maybe? I like those backing tracks though. Maybe something crazier. Lo-fi. Dark chill jam. These are all tracks I recorded before the summer. Black Pipes loves my lessons. Thank you. But we have a question, how to find key? C minor could work. Okay, it was C minor. The track is in B minor and I'm tuned down a half step, so I played it on the 8th fret, but this is basically B minor. And I usually go on the E string just to find the key. Usually you can do that in a rock and pop context. Doesn't work so well if it's like a jazz song. Oh, there's a key change here? This is a backing track I did myself, and I don't remember the key change at all. I freaking totally forgot about it. And I think I was stupid enough not to even write it down. So poor people jamming to this one are gonna feel the same way as I just did. Man, I get to taste my own medicine there. Usually I do these to, just in one key for them to be more jam friendly. But I guess I was tired or something when doing this. This one, for example. This should somewhat stick to E harmonic minor, I hope. Pretty cool. So if you want to give this a shot, they're all on my YouTube channel. But it's been an amazing session, guys, and thanks so much for all the cool feedback and questions and comments. You are the best, and I feel a little bit bad about me speaking so much and you not speaking. I guess that's just the way it is. It's a little bit one-sided, even though I'm very happy now. I can see comments from Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram here on the other screen. So that's awesome. It's like one big social family here. Let's keep it that way. Now, until next time, there's only one thing to do, right? Practice, 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 like there's no tomorrow. And I'll see you soon again, because you've been wonderful, and I've been Chris Vidal. See ya. Cheers.